All right, we just wrapped up the infrastructure portion of the Investigate area in the product, and now moving to SaaS. So, much like it sounds like software as a service. So, the things that you're using inside of your environment, that they're going to be more the application side of the things. So, as we dive inside of here, we're going to have essentially SaaS resources, or sorry, excuse me, SaaS sessions, SaaS events, and then getting down into the very particular resources inside of those. So starting with sessions, just like we've seen everywhere else in the product, I might want to go narrow down on particular sessions, but they're only being done in a particular app. So for example, Jira. So I can come over here, include Jira as a filter inside of here. We'll see that it filters down to Jira and our filter bar right here, and all of our sessions in the last 15 days. We're narrowed down to only things that we're seeing being done in Jira. So we could go open up one of these sessions right here and go take a look at all of the events that were done in Jira during that session. Only 3 events in this particular one, some group management and user management activity inside of here. I might want to see what location those activities are being done. This one looks like it's internal IP space because we didn't have any geo type of information inside of there. But essentially, really easy to kind of go make those filters of like, hey, Google Workspace only, or kind of Okta. The other way that I consume this, of course, is with our filter bars across the top, looking at IP addresses. Where do we see that in which applications, principles, threat findings, etc. But then also our sub tabs down here. So basically doing things by identity as well. Maybe I want to go see anything that is being done by Manish. I can go ahead and include Manish as a filter right here. We can see all of that will filter down all of your identities, and here's only the sessions and all of the apps that we're seeing done by Manish. So these are all acceptable ways to, as I kind of filter down on these sessions. Of course, maybe location analysis, the actual resources that are being impacted themselves. So like repos, presentations, things for like Google Drive, for example. And actually that leads me into kind of diving into more of the SaaS events and going into the resources. So just like I've shown in previous sections where it's like I could either go load a session based on some variables that I know, or I could just go into the events portion of SaaS events and say, hey, there's a very specific event that I'm thinking about inside of here. I want to go find that event and then maybe go back into the session and see all of the surrounding events. So typically what I'll see in that is actually starting with the event sub tab down here. And there might be something of interest that's maybe a bit more rare, or something that, from an event type that I really want to go. So for example, we could see this admin group settings change, not seeing a bunch of this happen inside of here. I just want to go include that as a filter. You're of course going to have those filter options up here as well. And you can just search what you're looking for. And I can see all of these were done by Nuno. These were all done in Google Workspace, and these were all done on the exact same day inside of here. So that's, and then now I could also, as I go open up this very specific event, I don't know if this is attached to a session, but just like I have shown in other portions of the product, if there is a session that was rooted in this and there's other events being done, it would load the session here for you as well. And then you can go see the surrounding events. So just kind of working just like we've seen other portions of the product work inside of here. So expanding beyond the SaaS events, now we have SaaS resources. So if we go dive in, we've already kind of taken a look at application, but this is going to be much more like all the applications that we're seeing used inside of our environment. So even inside of like Azure, for example, there's kind of these sub apps that are inside of there that we could go say, okay, who's using these particular apps inside of a particular account, such as Azure, for example, Okta. Go and take a look at those. We could look at all events, dissect that into like, hey, I only want to go look at more admin related events that are being done on my apps, app policies, kind of listing all of those out. I want to go see maybe what kind of app policies are being conducted inside of here, and then limit the apps that we're seeing being done, or just simply load the app itself. And now you can see it's loading this AWS IAM Identity Center app that we have inside of course, AWS. I could see a full activity map, identities that we see inside of here, full timeline, all the events. So just kind of a more, I would say, of a lens, being able to really kind of focus or hyper focus on a particular application that you might be interested about in your environment. Looking at drives and files, I really like this section, because a lot of this type of stuff I've typically used just, like Google Workspace, for example, looking at drives and files inside of there. And inside of here, it just makes it, for me personally, more easy to use. So for example, some things that I might want to do with this, there might be a particular folder. I just want to simply go search by that folder, go look at that and all the contents of it. But also we could come inside of here and look at things like, hey, I just want to go look at sharing status where maybe files are being made public inside of my environment inside of here. And then also we could start filtering down on like DLP scan results. So if you're applying these type of tags to your data, we can ingest those and have those DLP scan results and those DLP scan labels inside of here and filter on those. Or we can automatically kind of create our own DLP tagging as well based off of what we're seeing inside of the data. So maybe, I don't know, maybe like PII, don't have PII, let's say like PCI. For example, we really don't have too much of a scope here, but let's just go ahead and see if there's anything inside of here that has that label that's been shared publicly. There is not. Let's clear that, see if we have anything that's fine. Okay, good, we do. So basically DLP scan results inside of here, we can see some of this stuff being flagged as PCI. And so what's kind of nice inside of here is that I could go take a look, hey, what sharing statuses? Are we seeing stuff that's, we're kind of shared public, but is it shared externally, right? Like, so this is not public, it's shared externally with other users that may be in here. And so we can do those kind of filters as well. Backing this out, let's go clear our filters inside of here. And then just, once again, because I talk about it on every page, but it's definitely important, is looking at the sub tabs down here. So there might be very specific events inside of here. So file upload. So, okay, who's creating access requests? Who's requesting access to particular files? We could come in down here, go take a look at that event subcategory. And then now every file we see inside of here that essentially, has been requested access to, and then I could directly go open these things as well. So for example, everything inside of here has links directly to the file. So as I go open this, now we can see this, requesting business cards essentially is what this form was. And it's going to take me to that file if I have access to it. So just a really cool way that you can come in here and search for files, folders, see what's publicly shared, what tags are on there, who's accessing these things, what type of operations are being done. And then of course, location analysis, like who's accessing these files from what location, and then diving outside of drives and files, going into AI usage inside of here. So basically, just like what it sounds like, we have, different like open AI ingestion that we're bringing in, taking a look at all that audit data inside of there, what secrets and keys are being created. We can take a look at all the different API keys that have been generated inside of here, how many tokens, how much are they being used, what are they doing inside of here. Also doing like a bit of like kind of cost analysis across some of this data as well. So just for example, we can go take a look at these projects that we have. We can see the usage. We can sit here, dissect costs that are involved as well, category, rate limits, what models are being used. This one's actually pretty interesting to use inside of here. And so I could go apply any type of filter and then start just kind of narrowing down on those type of events inside of here as well. And then of course, a usage graph. So kind of an interesting area, I think, inside of here, just like really getting nitty gritty on the actual SaaS resources themselves inside of here. And on the next call, we are going to dive into code repos. Thank you.